is looking for an African leadership that serves the interest of the United States. And basically they're looking for some sort of foreign branch of the State Department. And in that way, the current leadership and even the previous leadership of Ethiopia has been serving the interest of the United States. If the United States was not there, this current leadership in Ethiopia wouldn't stay one day. This is an agreed fact that anybody can answer this. Now, in order to do that, the United States also serves what the current Ethiopian leadership wants. And in terms of this border, the border issue in Ethiopia and Eritrea was resolved in 2002. It was a final and binding. It should have been wrapped up by now, and we should have gone home. But it's still there because the United States is actually intervening in this issue. They haven't said a single word. They didn't sanction this. Almost 100,000 people died on this. They didn't even think about sanctioning. And the very first sign of some border skirmishes between Djibouti and Eritrea, they put a sanction, and they come like, and they don't want to sell arms, arms in Bangladesh. And this is completely unfair.
Yes, and based on their interests, as you've said. But if I could bring you in, Thomas, there in Eritrea. In our little rundown there, we mentioned the liberation struggle, the struggle for liberation led by the Eritrean People's Liberation Front. It was over 20 years of struggle. Do you feel that the fact that ideologically speaking the EPLF was left-wing in its orientation is still a strong factor in how Eritrea is treated today?
Well, yeah, but you know, it's even more than left-wing, it's pan-Africanist. I mean, there's a saying in the Horn of Africa that all roads to peace in the Horn of Africa run through Asmara, Eritrea. And I was here and I saw firsthand how here in Asmara, the first peace treaty in Sudan, and Eastern Sudan was born here in Asmara and nurtured to conclusion here in Asmara. Again, I witnessed the peace treaty with the south of Sudan and the north of Sudan. It was born and nurtured to conclusion here in Asmara in spite of American interference. And just recently, we saw the first Darfur peace deal that's really going to last between the justice and equality movement and the Sudanese government, born and nurtured to conclusion here in Asmara. So I think the American foreign policy, as Noam Chomsky says, is the American foreign policy is like that of the mafia. If the smallest shopkeeper does not kneel down and pay protection money, he must be beat down, burnt down, or destroyed as an example to all the others. Now, Eritrea's national motto is never kneel down. We're not going to kneel down to the Americans here. And this means that the Americans have got a very independent organization right in the middle of the Horn of Africa, one of the most strategic places in the world, that's starting to spread its influence into Sudan, trying to spread into Somalia, and someday is even going to bring peace once again to Ethiopia. Right. And Americans don't want peace in the region.
Well,
they want wars.
Let me bring Selam here, who obviously feels that she would not be free if she went to Eritrea. Can you just pin that down a little bit here? If you landed in Asmara, what would happen to you with your point of view? What is it you fear?
What I fear is the fact that has happened to 11 top officials in September 18, 2001. President Isaias Afwerki overnight arrested 11 of his colleagues from the EPLF, from the same organization that fought and gained the immaculate victory of the Eritrean people, the Pan-Africanist movement that Thomas is talking about. Let's be clear about this. Eritrea has got a potential to play a very positive role in that part of Africa. The independence movement was an impeccable movement that is a pride of not just Eritrea and Eritreans, but all justice-loving people in the world. Let's not take away anything from that. But President Isaias Afwerki and the few people around him have whittled away from that victory by taking away the very essence of self-determination and liberty.
So you think it's the peculiar behavior of certain individuals rather than the principles of the whole organization?
I think it's the personality and the paranoia of the president, which is at the heart of the things that have gone bad for Eritrea.
Would you like to respond to that very quickly?
I think the majority of Eritreans would find it very laughable that Selam can equate herself with the 11 ministers which are incarcerated at the moment. To be honest, the difficulties in Eritrea at the moment emanates by from the interventions and the very devastating devastating war that we had in 1990 to 2000. And there has been some problems, yes, but we have been able to solve those problems and trying to ensure that our sovereignty and our integrity is actually still in place.
Right.
But trying to, I mean, I don't know where Selam is getting it from, that if she thinks that she's going to Asmara and she's going to be treated the same way as the 11 ministers is frankly ridiculous.
Okay, well, let's speak to you. Final word to you, Thomas. Unfortunately, the discussion is coming to a close. What is your best case scenario? Because, you know, points of view on both sides of the divide seem very firmly entrenched. In your ideal world scenario, what would you like to see happening, say, over the next 12 months?
Well, you know, I don't think there's the problem is it's the American foreign policy. And American foreign policy is getting increasingly weaker by these defeats they're facing in the rest of the world. They're growing increasingly desperate, and I think they're going to do increasingly dangerous and criminal activities, especially in the Horn of Africa, because they're losing out here. And I think we're going to see more craziness on the part of the Americans, like these unsubstantiated charges against Eritrea supporting terrorism, when Eritrea is actually bringing peace to the Horn of Africa. And as far as all these charges of human rights and everything, everybody's entitled to their viewpoint, but I live here in Eritrea. I'm out in the streets every day. I know what's going on. 20,000 Eritreans are demonstrating outside, and one of their demonstration chants, which I saw on TV, was, "We are the government, and the government is us." Isaias Afewerki is the most venerated, admired man in Eritrea, and these people outside all attack him. But when in Eritrea, everybody's saying, this guy gives us hope. This is our leader. This is the George Washington of Eritrea.
I reluctantly have to cut you off there because time is against us. But viewer, please let us know what you think about the seeming isolation of Eritrea, you know, with Eritrea leaving the AU. What do you feel? Email africa@presstv.co.uk and let us know what you think. But now it's time for our usual weekly look at some other news from the continent.
The first locally produced solar panels in Ghana have gone on sale with what the government hopes would ease the country's long-lasting power shortage. Senegal's energy minister has announced that his country is preparing to build a nuclear power plant with the help of France. The project could make Senegal Africa's second nuclear energy producing country after South Africa, which has 2 French-designed reactors at Quebec near Cape Town. The International Women's Day has been celebrated all over the world. The first celebration, which was in 1911, will reach a global centenary next year. The day is celebrated yearly to acknowledge the economic, political and social achievements of women.
Indeed, that is it for today. Many thanks to all of you who sent in comments that we couldn't read. Email africa@presstv.co.uk, or you can text us at +44 7800008086. Don't forget, messages will be charged at your local operator rates. Big thank you to today's guests. They were Selam Kidan, Sirak Balbi, and from Asmara in Eritrea, Thomas C. Mountain. Thank you for watching. Join me, Buisong Ngomongwana, and the team next week on Africa Today.